Hello.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good. I had to go old school. I had to type every, usually you can just click it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work. So I had to type all the meeting numbers in and the code. So whatever.
You didn't have to do that last time?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Well, that's strange.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well,
you're here. That's all that matters.
Yes, that's right. that means it's going to be good. That means it's going to be good because then
that's
the
right.
enemy's always trying to get in the way.
That's right. And anything that's worthwhile takes effort.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Let me start.
I hope you had a great day.
I did. Yes, very full as always.
Yes.
Did you say you're attending an outside event?
Yes. Some friends invited us down to the History Museum. They're doing like Twilight Thursday.
Oh, that started already?
Yes.
Is tonight the first night?
No,
last week?
Mm-hmm. Tonight it's Dennis Edwards and the Temptations.
Yeah. That is truly, to give you a little background on myself and my husband, we dated back in 2001 for about, what did we say, for about 9 or 10 months. And it just wasn't the right time. We broke up and then we found our way back to each other about 11 years later in 2012. And we got married in 2015. But our favorite, I know you love Daddy, don't you? Our favorite dates back then and now, but we haven't done as much this time around, were the Twilight Thursdays. I think they used to do, didn't they used to do them on Tuesdays?
Yes, they had Twilight Tuesdays. This was a new thing, I think, because my friends sent me a message and said, Twilight Thursdays ? And I'm like, I don't know. What is that?
Right.
So yeah.
I'm gonna have to look it up because yes, that was truly one of my favorite things. I don't remember who the first person was that I saw, but we used to go to a bunch of them. And I remember seeing, there was one time that I saw Boogie Child there. I saw Dr. Gervais there. Oh my gosh, what is the woman? Oh, I'm blanking on her name.
Kim Bassett.
Yes, thank you. How did you know I was thinking of Kim?
Because I love her, and I had to be.
Oh my goodness gracious! What an incredible talent she was, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what an unbelievable loss.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so glad you said that. And what a gorgeous night you have for it. What time does it start?
Yes. Well, it actually starts at 6, but we told them to save us a little space because I had something else that I needed to do, and so they've got a little spot saved for us. So.
Well, we will have you do your part, and we will let you wrap up, and so you can get over to your friends and enjoy that. That's what it's about. It's about time with family and friends, and those memories spent.
Yes.
Well, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I think so. It's a beautiful night. I really wanted to go and honor the young man and do the processional today, but I've had so many things going on. It's been a busy day, and I did not get an opportunity, so I was kind of sad about that. Yeah.
I was wrapping up my clients this afternoon in Sunset Hills. I teach seniors on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And yes, I love it. They're adorable. So I think my youngest is 78, my oldest is 95. They're incredible. So I was leaving there, we were in Sunset Hills, and I paused and watched them setting up. So I took a picture and said, God bless young fallen soldier. rest in peace or something along those lines, but they were just setting up. And then I called my husband and asked him if he was taking part in, shutting down the highways and everything. So their entire platoon went out to honor him because he's in that 4th precinct. So he's right there by Jefferson Parish.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You won't believe this. I think I'm related to that guy.
Oh, goodness.
I found a bunch of Schmitz and I'm looking and I'm trying to see where he pieces in, if he pieces in. And I'm like, oh my God, I have a ton of Schmitz in my family now. My new family.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, he might be related. So I'm trying to figure that out as well.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, Debora, I am so happy that that you're on with us. And again, like I said, we're going to talk, and then I'll open up the microphone for the ladies to see if they have any questions or comments to you. And we're going to let you go off to Twilight Thursdays and enjoy the temptations.
I'm good. I'm here. So no worries, no problem.
Or I may tell you to
I
stay.
have a good husband.
Oh.
He said, "Don't worry about it. I'll let you out, and I'll find a spot, and we'll be good." So it's all good.
I might make you stay on Zoom and take us with you so I can hear it.
That's right. Actually, I thought about doing it from down there, and then I said, "Well, I don't know about the Wi-Fi."
It might be loud. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, for those of you that are just signing on, Debora and I came on a little early, and we were talking about what I always knew as Twilight Tuesdays, but she's down at the History Museum, and they do on the lawn. They have been for many, many years. I was explaining to her that Jim and my favorite dates, first time around back in 2001, were these Twilight Tuesdays. And the most incredible artists are there, and you spread out on the lawn in front of the History Museum. You bring your own, food if you want to, wine. You can sit down. Or they started having food trucks over the years, so you can purchase stuff. So if you've never been, it's incredible. It's just a really awesome time, and it's free.
Right.
Yeah, great date night. So I'm going to get started so she and all of you can get on with your Thursdays. I want to thank Debora, first of all. If you were on last week, she actually came on and was listening in as a guest. Hey. So Debora and I actually met a couple of years ago. She came into Fox when I was over there, and we were talking about Go Red for women, which hopefully all of you women know about. So I'm going to let her actually tell her story of many, many years of being misdiagnosed, her heart story, first of all, and then what actually led her to choosing joy, choosing happiness. I also would let her to her Facebook page and her LLC, which I'll tell you about so you can like that page as well. Girls, come on. So first of all, Debora, thank you for taking some time tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Good evening, ladies. I'm so glad to see all of you this evening. And I'm so glad to have been invited to chat with you a little bit. I'll give you I always say the nickel version. It's a very long journey, but I'm going to try to condense it for time. So I am a 32-year heart disease and diabetes survivor. Everything began to happen in my 26th trimester of my second pregnancy. I went into preterm labor. I was rushed to the hospital. I was at work that day, and they gave me a medication to stop the labor, and that medication tripled my heart rate, and I ended up in intensive care. So the doctors were trying to figure things out. They gave me several different diagnoses, and the one that I ended up with was mitral valve prolapse, meaning that there's an issue with one of the valves. It just wasn't opening and closing properly and getting the, blood to pump through to the heart properly. Excuse me. So I spent the next 20 years as a mitral valve prolapse patient, assuming that that's what I had. We were living in Minnesota at the time, and my husband's job transferred us to St. Louis. And as you know, new city, new doctors, new everything. So coming to St. Louis, I started researching, trying to find a doctor. And every time I would go in to see a physician, they'd always hear something in the heart, some underlying thing, but they could never quite figure it out. And then they send me to have Holter monitors, and many of you may know, just a monitor to check and see, about what's going on with the rhythms. So for the next 20 years, I went through Holter monitors, chemical and treadmill stress tests, catheterizations, meaning, they do an invasive procedure to make sure there are no blockages. All not coming up with what was really going on, because as I moved here, things began to exacerbate. I started having more issues. I started experiencing left arm pain, shortness of breath. The palpitations were absolutely unbelievable. And I would go in sometimes and it was almost as if they didn't believe me. But I was feeling this. And so I'd have stints of being in bed for 4 months at a time because I really couldn't function. I went to another physician because I was changing up because no one seemed to be giving me answers. So, you keep seeking, right? You keep seeking. I went to a doctor who, every symptom that I had, she gave me another medication. So at one point in time, I was on 13 different medications, and I was really like a walking zombie. I was not functioning as I should be. And I was a fairly young mother. I was in my 30s. So all of that to say, being rushed to the ER, checked out periodically, with all these different symptoms and things. During that period of time, I lost 3 family members. My father, he had a stroke. My uncle, he died 3 months to my father's death of a heart attack. And my brother died at 35 of a massive heart attack. And all 3 of them lived with diabetes, which I have. And it was, they had underlying diabetic heart-related issues. So as you can imagine, I really sat by and waited for you watch the clock. I thought, okay, it's happening, it's gonna happen. And I'm just gonna wait here. And, I didn't know a lot of people in my age range that had heart issues. So I began to do a little investigating. I started reading a lot, and I am a woman of faith, which we'll get to. I pray often, and one of the things I got from God was, you have 2 choices. You can sit and wait, or you can become proactive. And so at the time, I was taking insulin injections, and I had started to read that if you had an insulin pump, you may have a better level of control over your diabetes, your blood sugar levels. So I started researching that. They weren't out of range, but I was looking for something that was going to help with this whole process. I enrolled myself in different cardiac rehab classes, and I started doing all of that. And eventually in 2009, this all started in 1989. So in 2009, I found a doctor who said, you know what? I'm a plumber, and I think you need an electrician. And I thought, okay, I've not heard this one before, but I didn't realize that there were actually electrical issues with your heart. So he talked to me about seeing another physician, an electrophysiologist who deals with electrical issues with the heart. And I went to him, and he started talking to me about where my heart rate was and all of that. And he said, I think you're going to end up having to have a pacemaker. And of course, I laughed because my grandmother had one at 70. And I was like, nah. So within the next year, this all started, in 2008. In 2009, I started having more issues, and my heart rate had dropped to 30. And I was teaching at the time. And every time I would come out of school, I would lean up against the building and go, oh, these kids are getting to me. Because I thought it was just, the day-to-day routine. And so the doctor finally said, your heart rate is dropping, and I think it's just going to continue to drop. We need to think about giving you a pacemaker. And I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated because I thought, where do I go from there? Isn't that the end? You're standing on a cliff and there's nothing else, that a pacemaker. So of course, with a lot of prayer and then also having a family, having 2 children, and a husband, and thinking, I've got to do this, So I had that done in 2009, and it made all the difference in the world, I have to tell you. all of that led to me starting to work with the American Heart Association as a Go Red Passion Committee member, and then getting on the speaker circuit, because when it comes to my faith, I realized that I was still here with a purpose. I looked at what happened with my family members, and I had to say, I'm diabetic, I'm still here, I'm whole. God wants to use that. And so I started, getting connected, networking with the AHA, and then them sending me out to speak and to go to events and all of that. Well, that all led me to a point of, I started writing. Of course, journaling is good and therapeutic. I'm sure that you've been told that by Monica. Yes. And so in that writing for myself, for the healing for myself, I started writing. And so then I would write something, and then maybe someone would connect with me and I would share what I had written. So all of that led to me starting my LLC, which is called She Speaks from a Joyful Heart. And it's not only for people that are living with a chronic illness, because of course that's my platform. I've had an opportunity to really speak globally about heart health. I've been flown to Medtronic, which is a huge corporation in Minnesota. They create both my devices, my pacemaker and my insulin pump. And that's my logo. And so I've gone and I've spoken globally to their researchers and developers about, as a patient, what it, how everything's functioning and working for me. And then I became a national spokesperson. That's when I met Monica in 2019 for the Go Red Real Women, and had an opportunity to travel and to speak on that as well. So with this page, I designed this page because I knew there were many other women who might find themselves in the same situation that I had faced. And they may be lost, they may not know answers, they may be seeking something, they may be going to a doctor who says, look, there's really nothing wrong with you, because I was told that. And I just wanted to be that voice for those who may not know how to use their voice and to advocate for themselves. And so this is today's message that I put out today. And all of the pictures that you'll see on my page, those are pictures that I have taken over the course of the years. And it's interesting because I would take pictures and I didn't even know why I was taking them. And now they're being used for She Speaks from a Joyful Heart. Some of them are new, some of them go all the way back to 2011. And so when I go to the scripture for the day, I find a picture that I've taken, and I put that together with the verses. And so I just share that. And I'm a new grandmother, so that's who you just saw there. But anyway, I'm finding that the work that I'm doing, the poetry and the speaking, it's not just about heart health. There are people who are living with, relationship issues, financial issues. And what I've found is people are telling me that the poetry and the work is healing them in other areas. So that's why that joyful heart is important. It's like, I want to touch and impact as many people as I can. And no matter what you're going through, no matter what challenges you face, we can still find joy. It's a choice that we make. And so I even put some of my things here because people started sending me, I've got joy all over the place. I even have a product my daughter sent me, which I love. It's an oil and it's called Joy.
Really? I love it.
So I am known for the joyfulness. And, it's not easy. When you're in the midst of dealing with something, sometimes you just want, to find your way out of that darkness or that valley. But it's so important to reframe your thoughts. We have to reframe, refresh, and renew our thoughts. And I don't know if it's okay with Monica. I have two pieces that I really would like to share, Monica.
Yes, please. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So this first one is I Pray You Joy. And the reason why it was written, and I'm working on my first book. It should be done by Christmas. But I Pray You Joy was written. My sister-in-law asked me, she said, Deb, you've got all these pieces. And she said, what do you want the work to do? What do you want it to speak to? And I said, I just want everybody to experience joy. I mean, and there's a difference between joy and happiness. Joy is internal. It comes from within. Happiness is something that, you can have something happen to you in the course of the day and you're like, oh, that made me so happy. But joy is deep within you. It's rooted within you. And so I said, I want everyone to experience joy. So this first piece I named, I Pray You Joy. And this is my gift to all of you because I want you to have joy. I pray for you great sunsets, seeing God within all things. I pray for you bright rainbows and the promises God brings. I pray for you, and you, sweet music, sung so sweetly by the birds. The songs create a melody inspired by God's words. I pray your life is filled with laughter, that a smile adorns your face. I pray that love will fill your heart, enough to heal the human race. I pray for help to fix your burdens, that your trials will not destroy. I pray that God will grant you peace through all. I pray you joy.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Wow. I hope, yes, they're all doing this. And then you have another piece you want to read also?
Yes, and this
Read
one
it.
goes out to each of you. So I had a friend who was really, wow, she was really going through it, marital, all kinds of things going on. And I wanted her to know that even in the midst of what she was going through, even in the midst of the challenges, that she was enough. And so that's what this piece is called. And I'm saying I am enough, but it is for all of you. But it's called I Am Enough. I pray that my thoughts remain positive and my heart to be pure, that my light will shine brightly, my footing steadfast and sure. I pray my dreams and desires will reach beyond what I see, and for people to recognize that it's God and not me. I pray that the things that the enemy tries will not cause me to break, to give up, or despise. I pray to claim and expect God's finest and best, because he created me to be fruitful and blessed. I pray that when I'm placed in the path of someone who's lost, my actions show them not knowing God has a cost. I pray that any trials and circumstances once faced will be used only for good and all harm is erased. I pray to always forgive and give grace when it's tough, and to be good to myself because I am enough. You are enough, ladies.
Amen. Amen, Debora. That's so very true. Yes. I'll do this for all of you that are muted. Debora, did you write poetry? Were you always into journaling in some respect, even not knowing it was actually journaling maybe way back when? Or did that come to you later in life?
It really came to me later. Now I will say, I've got a few things that I've scribbled up, and I found in one of my books. To be honest, I started writing. So remember when I told you that I got my pacemaker and I was at school teaching, I felt like I couldn't stay in the classroom. So I took a break from teaching and I got a job at one of the local police precincts. I worked for Baldwin for a year.
Really?
And that was during the time that I got I was in their office. And so I was on the desk. And so I started then. It was really interesting, that whole process. I started scribbling, just writing. And it really started out as life lessons, if that makes any sense. They were little things that I'd see and I would write about it. And they all led back to God though. They, encounters that I had and things that I saw, but all led back to God. It was like, I always say he gave me this third eye, if you will, just to see something that maybe everybody else doesn't see. Absolutely. So I really started honing in on the writing probably 2011.
It's beautiful. And I will say, you know, the same kind of thing. I think you and I have talked about this, but if not, so your journey in 1989, mine was 1990 when I had my massive blood clot, and you and I align with the whole belief that you could have taken me back then and you didn't. So let me make the most of this world, because I have always said I believe that he kept me as a disciple here on earth, that
Yes.
he wanted me to make a difference, and that I said actually to a very dear friend of mine yesterday, I just have so much in me that I just want to put out there, and just, if you could just get someone to smile once in the day to just change their course of wherever that negative path is leading them, where the depression, where the darkness is, where it stems from, who they surround themselves with, etc., that you just want to touch. And then sometimes you want to spend more time, and then you realize there's so much more. And it almost can become exhausted. You get exhausted sometimes because you just want to go, 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 because you don't know. You know that your time could be so limited. You've seen, you know, losing so many people, and knowing that at any moment, we're not guaranteed even the next second. You know, you're working on your book. I've been working on mine for a long time, and I have so many people that have said, you have to get it out there. Mine's always been the power of the second. And people always say, well, why do you say the second? And I said, well, because you're not promised a minute. So you think about the seconds of someone waiting at a red light, right, and deciding not to go through it, and someone else deciding to go through it and going, getting smashed in an intersection, and their life is gone. That's a second. That wasn't a full minute. It's even a millimeter of a second that makes the difference and the changes. But it's that whole thing. And so, Debora, I'm sure you get the same question that I get of, it can't be that easy. Life can't be that easy. You can't be
Right.
that positive. You can't be that joyful. And I say, like you have just said, and I hope these ladies are hearing that, yes, you can. It is a choice. It's not to say it's all butterflies and poetry and puppies and rainbows, but it's also in how we react, right, Debora? How do we react? It's not to say, we're human beings. It is natural to get really, really frustrated or to get anxious, but then it's that whole talking with yourself and realizing, calm down. It's going to get better. It's going to be okay, as you heard me say last week. But I love the fact that you said, because I think this is one of the things that many things you're going to say tonight, but one of the things that the women can take away from this is how they even begin to do what you and I have been doing for years, which is, you know, how do they begin writing those words? So many have said, I know you've been telling us to do this for a year. And some of them started little, and it is baby steps. Some of them have really taken it on. Some of them really still find it to be hard to do. So what advice would you give to start helping, because the word is so powerful, to go back and look at your thoughts, not to necessarily analyze them, but to look and think, wow, look at the place I was in, look how I came out of it, and then look how I expanded from there. So what advice would you give them to begin to put those words out there, to start helping their heart, to start healing them?
Okay, so does anybody know about having a word for the year? Have you all selected your own word, like a word that represents you? So intentional, I have this here. It says live with intention, but intentional was my selected word. And I say that because you think about, you know, your journey. And I encourage people, because a lot of people say, I don't even know where to begin to write a piece of poetry or just write. And I'm like, it could be any word that just resonates with you. You start there, and it could be help. It could be help. And you write that down, and then you begin to think about, why am I seeking help? Why do I think I need help? Even how can I help others? I mean, it could be anything that branches from that word. And then you begin to just write a few sentences, and you'd be surprised how that builds into something, you know. So I don't know if that helps, or, you know.
Absolutely.
Sense,
Well,
but
because
yeah.
it gets you focused. Obviously, you see my word over the top of me. It's everywhere. It's up here above our fireplace. It's in little things. Like you said, people give you joy, little, you know, whatever it may be. If they're going to go, they think of you. So people always, I'm always, it's like synonymous, Monica, blessed. I say blessed a lot, and I do feel that. It's interesting because, you know, you'll see what I've gone through two massive things in my life. One was back in 1990, and one was actually just recently within the last 4 months that these ladies don't even know about. But it was two life-changing moments I feel blessed that those things happen, even though they were monumental in life. Yours was monumental, that very easily, and this is your choosing joy aspect, it's so easy to have had that happen and for you to take a different path. And my example of that is, I went through what I went through, almost exact time frame that my brother went through Hodgkin's disease when we were at Mizzou. And then right after, he had testicular cancer. He used to come and talk to me and say, I don't understand how we both can go through something so life-changing, and for you to be so happy and positive, and the belief that you were taken away. So I was studying sports medicine. I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. I love medicine. I like medicine today, though, where people are more open-minded to Eastern and Western culture medicine. But he used to look at it as, don't you feel like you were robbed of going in that direction? And I said, no, God very much said, I have to put you through this massive thing to make you realize I need you for something much greater. I need you to go over here, but you're going to use your studies in another way. And that's these ladies in all of my training over the last 22 years. And so he's like, right, ladies, right? I'm on the right path. So I know it's a constant conversation, I've always said, that goes on, and you are constantly talking to yourself of, okay, I don't want to overanalyze things. I don't want to question it if I can just believe. So that's my 2R, blessed and believe. So behind me is also believe. Believe things happen for a reason, just believe. And I know it's hard to just sit with that, but it's very, very true. So besides helping them journaling, how can you start to get them to walk the path of choosing joy?
You know, again, reframing your thoughts. So I'll give you an example. I was talking to a young lady. I'm also a prayer warrior. So there are people who literally call me daily for prayer. They may be going through something, you know, a moment of anxiety or whatever. And so this young lady called and she was sharing her, you know, where she was at that moment. And she said, I feel like the enemy is telling me that I'm different, because she has a heart issue. And she said she doesn't feel like she's the same. And so that's what she's hearing in her head. I'm different. I'm different. And I said, you know what? You are different. I said, but not different for a bad reason. You're different because God is going to, you know, he's brought you through something, and he wants to use you to be a blessing to others. And just in talking about it, reframing those thoughts, you know, we're constantly battling, you know, there's spiritual battles all the time, right? We're constantly battling against the world, against negativity and all those things. And we've got to get to a place where we can be still for a moment and reframe the way we're thinking. So that joy that I showed you, like this one here, this is an ornament that hangs in my closet. And I have it so that when I walk in, and this is something I suggest to people all the time, but when I walk in today, I choose joy. That's what I say. Yep. And there's something that happens. It might sound crazy, but there's something that happens. So then when I get in the car and somebody, you know, flips me off or something, you know, I can, I'm joyful today. That's not going to bother me, you know. It's like you have to do that with yourself, though. You know, you
have to surround yourself with it. I mean, it's the same thing on the journey, ladies, that you're all on, when, you know, you have this constant battle of letting food take over the life, right? And oh my gosh, why does it have such a hold on me? Why have I gotten so overweight and such a depression? So again, remember, if you're not happy with yourself on whatever level it is, it can just continue to mount up. And if you keep going in that direction, or surrounding yourself with those type of people that you want to break away from, you have to step away. You have to start taking yourself down a different path. I used to always say, if it's not what you're wanting, then put what you want in front of you everywhere. My house, you've not been here, Debora, but again, besides the blessing, I'll walk over here. It's constant things of life is a journey, and love is what makes that journey worthwhile, right? Yeah. So, you know, or you've heard my animals, but to have a dog is to know what it's like to be unconditionally loved. So it's constant, it's affirmations of positivity and love and joy and happiness, and then surrounding myself. If I start to feel the cancer, the only way I really want to say it, of negativity that someone tries to bring you, then a person who's very will make positive people sick, positively sick. So it's why would we want to surround ourselves with something that we're so much trying to break? You, Debora, you can tell you are a beautiful light that, again, I truly believe that God kept you. He put you through quite a battle and a journey, but you kept forging forward. And I know it's hard for a lot of people, but let's say someone, and it's hard to do when you have lost your way, but what if any of these women that are watching now or that are watching later that haven't been able to be on live, what if they've lost their way in faith? What do you say to someone that reaches out to you for that?
You know what? That's happening right now. I have a neighbor who lost his wife to COVID, and he's very much a religious person, and he shared with me where he is. And I tell you, when he first said it, you know, it's like, I don't want to say the wrong thing because, you know, I don't know if that would make him angry or whatever. And the thing that came to my mind was, I understand, you know, that you're grieving. I don't know the hour or the day or why it was right now, but I do know that the God that we serve loves you. I know that. And I was sharing the inspirational things that I send out, and I think it was making him a little uncomfortable because he's still trying to go through that grieving process. Absolutely. And I even said to him, you know what, it's okay. I know that you're angry. I didn't say, you shouldn't be angry. I said, no. I understand that's part of the process. I said, if you're not comfortable with me sending these to you, that's fine. I said, but the one thing that I will not do is I will not stop praying for you. And now we communicate on a weekly basis.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's about meeting people where they are. If you're going through something and you're struggling with your faith, you know, I definitely start my day with the devotional. I love praise and worship music. I try to surround myself with those kinds of things because they're so important. It helps to just, you know, try to keep your mind focused, you know, being still. We think about, you might be going to God and asking for something. You may be praying about something mightily and you're like, I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't heard anything yet. And, you know, sometimes it's about being still because God is talking to us all the time. But if we're in a state of, you know, oh, I need it now, I need it now, and we're not still, we may miss what he's trying to share with us. We may miss that answer or where he's trying to direct us, you know? So, yeah, just if you're dealing with something that makes you question, you know, is there really a God? And he hasn't answered that prayer yet. You know, I've learned that sometimes you might knock on a door and that no one's there, no one answers it. And I've gotten to a place now where that wasn't the right door, or wasn't the right time. Now, I don't want to mislead you. I don't want you to think that every day that I'm, you know, on this journey, I'm going through the same kinds of things. And I had someone ask me recently, just this last week, she says, how do you remain positive? And do you ever have any issues? And I go, oh, what? Every day.
Exactly.
You know, every single day. But it's just about, again, that choice. And I've even learned, I'm definitely, like I said, a prayer warrior. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the expectation. I believe that we serve an unlimited God, one that will do things that your mind can't even wrap around. Yeah. And so sometimes I'll share those things with people, and, you know, I kind of get the, you know, and when I shared with people that God was calling me to write a book, and this was right after I started writing, and I was so excited, and I was telling everybody, and I wasn't getting the same reaction that I thought I should get, and I was getting discouraged. And when I went back and I said to God, I said, God, you know, why aren't people reacting? You know, this is a great thing, and I'm so excited. He said, why are you looking for other people to, you know, respond and react? That was a vision I gave you. Whoa, that was like the V8 moment.
Exactly.
Because that was right. I was wondering, come on, y'all. he wants me
Right.
to write a book. Come
Yep.
on, I see you, you're looking right, and I was looking for people to react to it. And they were like, I mean, God was like, I gave that to you.
Mhm.
And I had to get my head right and know. So even if, when you're dealing with something, it's just trying to be still in the moment, asking God, for guidance. And this is how I've learned to pray. So if something's going on, I will say, thank you, God. Thank you in advance for what you are doing. That thing, I may not see it. There's a lot of things that I don't see, right? There's a lot of things none of us see or know. He's working in the background all the time. Trust and believe that. And so, but being able to say, oh God, I thank you for what you're doing. I thank you that you're meeting those needs. I thank you that you're giving provision. And I may not know that there is any provision, but I'm claiming it. And to me, that activation of faith is absolutely everything.
And I don't know how many times we've talked in the last year, ladies. You've heard me say over and over and over again, don't be afraid of being quiet in your mind. Don't be afraid with trying to find your way to that path. So many people are scared of that. They need this constant, and it's nothing but noise. And I'm just like, calm down. Don't be afraid of it. It's going to be scary in the beginning for someone who's not used to that. They're so afraid of sitting with their thoughts, but it's the most powerful thing, as Debora said, to find that calmness, which is why we've talked about finding meditation, even if it's 3, 4, 5 minutes, finding your way to 10 minutes. Eventually you'll be very much at peace. Whenever we're on this, I turn on soundscapes on my TV. I love that channel, by the way. If you've never turned it on, if you have, what do we have? I think we have direct. It's like 8:57. It's calming. It's beautiful. It's very spa-like. You think about how you feel when hopefully you've had a massage before and what kind of music they play. They don't play heavy metal. They don't play hard rock. You would be like, oh, intense. Correct. How do you get yourself to be calm? You surround yourself with positivity. You surround yourself with calm music, with very, very powerful positive thoughts. So I can guarantee you, Debora's probably my twin in this, that she starts her day, as she said, with affirmation, positivity, intentions. And then at night, we have the gratitude. I say my prayers. You don't want to ever let your praying knees get lazy, right? You've heard it in a song. So say the prayers and write down, and always end with positivity. I tell them to bookend their positivity. So you don't want to start with craziness in your mind, and you don't want to end with the negativity. Otherwise, you don't have restful sleep, which is what we want as well for ourselves. Debora, I'm going to have them open up their microphones. Does anybody have any aha moments? Does anybody have any comments or questions for Debora before I let her go enjoy her Twilight Thursday?
Just thank you very
so
much,
Debora, for sharing. That was so awesome.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you,
your prayer
Sherry.
was amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and so again, ladies, on Facebook, if you get a chance to, I want you to like her page. She speaks Joyful Heart, and then you're going to let me know when that book's out.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'm working on a website. So the Facebook page is a business page right now. It's serving as such, but the website will be coming prayerfully soon. So yes.
Please keep in touch with me. And when that happens, let me know and I will pass that along to the ladies, and we'll pass it along for people who need some guidance as well.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Well, listen, I am so grateful to, again, have had this opportunity just to spend with you. And actually, I need to talk to Monica because, I could use a little toning up,
We would love to have you. There have been so many people that just, it's interesting. There's a young girl that I just started training who's 14, and her name is Journey. Just crazy that with this being the group transformation journey, I was like, holy cow. She came to me, and I had actually talked to her mom, and she's like, yeah, maybe she's on this journey for myself. And I was like, well, that was an interesting comment. And I said something about, well, you should join us sometime. And I had said that a week prior, and then she happened to be at the house, said, yeah, you should come work out with us sometime. And she's like, yeah, sometime. And then I said, how about now? And then Angie looked at me and smiled, and she goes, okay. So her name is Makia. So Makia and Journey both joined us about 5 sessions ago. Oh my gosh, yes. And I just love it. And it's just this constant paying it forward, right? You just want to affect people's lives. So
Yes.
Debora, I would absolutely love for you. So you just let me know if you would like to join us in any way that you can. I would love that.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. I'll be reaching out to you anyway,
Yeah.
Monica. It was
Can I,
something else.
can I jump in?
Oh, yes,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I was afraid. I thought you were gonna wrap or leave, so I just wanted to jump in before. But Deborah, thank you for sharing your positivity, because I know we've all, one time or another, find ourselves going through some tough times, and just hearing, your 20-year struggle, because you said 89 to like 2009, basically, like, that's a long time to go through something, and just, I know I find myself struggling with things, and other people do, and just, your positivity and knowing that, um, sometimes trusting the process is hard. And so, just some of the things you said today definitely did resonate. And I just wanted to thank you for sharing. And boy, sometimes just keeping the faith is a hard thing. So I don't know, you could elaborate on that a little bit more. And I had something else to share, and I forgot, but just thank you for sharing today.
Oh, well, thank you, Becky. It's such a pleasure. And I don't know, was she asking me to kind of elaborate on the keeping the, or
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, a little bit. Oh, and here's my
Yeah.
joy. You were talking about joy, and I told the girls this earlier today. My puppy brought me a kind of joy I didn't know about earlier. So, or before I had him. So there is. You're right. Joy is an important thing. But yeah, I guess if you could just, you said you just gotta sit with it sometimes and just trust that it's there. But boy, sometimes that's really hard. So can you talk more about maybe how you, Monica says we need to quiet our minds more. Some of us, I'm going to say I'm one of those people. So I'm trying to make sure I could quiet my mind and listen to the intentions that are maybe coming my way. And I didn't know if you could maybe elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes. So yeah, quieting the mind, as you know, is really tough. And it's almost like, I think first and foremost, we have to, well, I'm going to break this down, and it might sound, I don't know. So most of us know, most everyone knows that there is a God. Okay. And if you ask a whole room full of people, like maybe there's 500 people in a room, everybody's heard of God. They may not be serving God. They may not believe, they a lot of things, but they know. But I don't think that we oftentimes recognize that the enemy is very real. And I think it's important for us to recognize that the enemy is real, because we are in a spiritual battle. So when you can't quiet your mind, that's because there are things that are, that are coming, they're coming. And even you being able to say, when you have a moment of a negative thought, being able to say, I know where that comes from, so that then you can then too take it and compartmentalize or put it where it needs to go, which is out of your mind. So we know that chaos and confusion and all that chatter and noise does not come from God. That comes from the enemy. And so that's kind of what I use, is I know for sure when I have those thoughts, because yes, I have those thoughts. Absolutely. I'm not out of the challenges. I was diagnosed with AFib 2013. After all of this, I had another issue that came up probably a year and a half ago. And I went to 5 doctors that told me I needed an invasive procedure. And that's another story. But the thing is, I'm not saying that I would not go to a doctor for the care. That's not what I'm saying. But I got quiet in my faith to hear how God wanted me to move, got discernment on what the right and the proper thing was to do. So we have to be still, because there's going to be a lot of things thrown at you. If you had a health challenge and you got 10 people telling you, oh, you know what, Aunt so-and-so had that, and you need to do this and you need to do that. That's just going to, cause a lot of confusion. It's going to cause a lot of discouragement. And just having to be still and using some of the things that I talked about, like there's beautiful music, worship music, even like Monica was talking about on what she uses, just like calm, quiet, sounds, just kind of closing yourself off sometimes just to be still. And listen, when you do that, there's clarity that comes, there's discernment that comes from that stillness. The Bible tells us, be still and know that I am God. There's a reason for being still. And we struggle with that. As women, don't we struggle with being still? I mean, we're wearing 50 hats. We're trying to do this with kids. We got the dog, we got da 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 da. And so we've got to try to just, that's part of your self-care. And you may, okay, this is the thing. I'm sorry, I could talk about this all day because this is my heart. And I'm falling in love with you all already. So, but the thing is, we have a tendency to just not give ourselves grace. Okay. And I'm going to give you this example. At one point in time during this whole process, the doctors told me, you have to stop exercising because your heart rate is dropping instead of going up. And so I stopped exercising. And then when they told me that I was okay to start, all I could do is 5 minutes on a treadmill. Well, you know what I told myself? 5 minutes? That's not going to do anything. So what do we tend to do? Why do it? It's not going to do anything. But I had to tell myself, if all you can do is 5 minutes, get yourself on that treadmill and do that 5 minutes. And the 5 minutes turned into 10 eventually, and then into 15 until the point of me getting to an hour. But we talk ourselves out of things because if we can't give 100% right then and there, we don't think it's worth it. But whatever you can do, even if you can only find yourself 5 minutes just to be still and just maybe just show gratitude and say, thank you, God. I don't know what you have on the course of this day for me, but I'm trusting and believing that you're going to show me something. And I just thank you for it. You're going to give me something and I thank you for it. Just taking that few minutes. But we sell ourselves short when we think it's got to be an hour or whatever, you know, and that's just this part, you know, when you're exercising, I know you have a routine and you want to follow that. And there's a certain amount that you should do, you know, for your heart rate to, you know, be where it needs to be. But for your mind, start small and build until it becomes a habit, you know?
Yes, other, you know, a lot of times in this, they'll hear me say, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. Who cares what everybody's doing on the side of you and in front of you and behind you? Because you have no idea what's in their mind at that moment. You have no idea if they're pushing harder because they had such a horrible day. No one knows until someone gives it to you. And when you trust enough, like this group, they have that circle of trust, they start to let go and to release these things that have been mounting on them. But you said something that's really, really powerful. Women, as you all know, we are the ones that take care of everyone, right? And then you go a million miles an hour and you're like, wow, look at how I can multitask. But you've probably heard before that it's not necessarily a healthy thing. We do it and we do more. Oh, I can take on more. I can take on more. But then that sometimes takes us away from the stillness that Debora is talking about and the calmness that we actually do need. So we do need to carve out time. If you put it in your phones, hopefully you do. I mean, my calendars are so crazy full of taking every second and just packing it through, but sometimes that's not the best. And I'll know that my journey started by balance of time with my husband, with my dog, my family, making those moments last and count instead of just doing for everyone else. So yes, very, very important to find time for you first and foremost, to make yourself number one. And as Debora said, to give yourself grace and know that you're worth it, that you are the most important in the equation. And how can everybody else around you be happy if you don't have your own happiness, right?
Amen.
One other thing to share. I remember what I was going to say, guys. You know how we say everything happens for a reason or just trust the process. Well, today I had something that came up where I was like, you know, I got an email when I was trying to make a decision about something that email came at the right time for a reason. So it was just one of those things, again, that proves that like there is a bigger picture that you don't understand sometimes. So that's what I was going to share. Is just what Monica talks about, those aha moments or those chills, or when things come across your path when you don't expect it. Like that was a moment today. So I just had one of those moments today. So I just wanted to reaffirm that, you know, this conversation today kind of resonated with me because of some other stuff today. So anyway.
I love it. Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing, Becky. I do want to say, Monica, you have my phone number?
I don't think I have your phone number, but let me write it in my journal. That's right here.
Okay, because again, like I said, I'm a prayer warrior. I just have to say I love, love, love what Monica is doing, because not only is she working to, help you with your bodies, but your mind. This is a balanced process. It's so important. And, if you don't have your mindset straight, which I'm sure she says, you can't, work on the other parts of you. So I just am so grateful to know that, this is happening and that there are programs like this. I think it's a beautiful thing. But again, like I said, I'm a prayer warrior. I'm working on a couple of things within She Speaks from a Joyful Heart to just to do outreach. But if you ever have a need for prayer, please feel free to reach out. I hope that's okay that I've offered that to you through.
Oh my gosh.
Be careful what you ask for. You can pray for me anytime, Debora.
She will do her prayer for you tonight. I actually just looked back through our conversation. I do have your phone number. You did put it in our chat. So I do have it. So
Okay,
yes.
So please feel free. Just remind me where we met, and we'll be off and running. So
Debora, I think you and your husband and myself and my husband need to have a Twilight Thursday together. So let's plan it.
let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'll shoot you my number in our chat.
Okay.
So I want you to go have fun. Your husband's probably looking for you.
Yes, he's downstairs. I heard the cooler rattling as we speak.
See? All right. Well, we're going to let you go.
Thank you.
Have a great time. And shoot me a message later after you're done and tell me how great it was. I can't wait to go again.
I will. I definitely will. And I look forward to seeing you all again sometime, hopefully.
Absolutely. Have a blessed night, Debora.
All right.
Thank
Be
you.
blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. Wasn't she great, ladies? Phenomenal. I love our guests. Every week, I love our guests. Well, before we end tonight, I'm going to add on